there's just so many things that we can talk about, and this topic to me really fits because you live in Cincinnati and you worked in Cincinnati for a long time. And Joe Burrow, we brought him up, the spectacular quay. He had a bad playoff game against Kansas City. They could have won that game if Joe Burrow played better. He didn't play well,
but they
only lost
too.
by 3 on a bad call right at the end of the game that set up the game-winning field goal. But anyway, now comes time to start paying people. And what are you doing? You brought it up before about Higgins, the receiver. Leave our guy alone. We're going to pay him or whatever. Then you got Joe Mixon. And then there's Joe Burrow that you eventually got to take care of and all that. But, Andy, I'm here to say, and I don't know where you are. We didn't talk about it before the show. But I don't believe Joe Burrow should give Mike Brown a hometown discount, do anything to help them, to field a better team. All of that is nonsense and garbage. That's why you have general managers and capologists and owners to make those decisions. That's not for you to make those decisions. And why shouldn't he get his fair market value? This whole notion that, if you take less money, you win. Did the Rams win the Super Bowl by taking less money for Matthew Stafford? Did they win?
No. I don't know who
They
starts
won.
that hometown discount garbage. First of all, you talk about the Bengals shouldn't do it, the Burrow should do it. I don't think any athlete should do it. I don't think any athlete should take what they call a hometown discount because I think they owe management nothing. Really. Before Joe Burrow came, the Cincinnati Bengals had the worst attendance in the National Football League. Now there's a waiting list for tickets. He created the product. He created the new culture.
So why should he take less money? 100%.
Exactly.
And here's the other thing, Andy. If you could take less money, that doesn't mean that the general manager is a numbskull or not that good, and he mishandles the money that you're not taking, and he signs the wrong guys. Do you understand? So you could say, I give up more money, and they always use Tom Brady as an excuse. Tom Brady took less money.
Well, he had his wife.
And then his wife was making more money than him. Right. And the other thing was the Patriots didn't pay people. Everybody always gives Tom Brady credit for winning with nothing. How did that get Tom Brady better players if he gave up money? And then they always said, well, he had nobody to throw to. They're all bums working at 7-Eleven. What was the sense of giving up the money if they had Randy Moss for those 2 years?
That was it.
That was it.
Yeah, you named the Hall of Fame receivers on the New England Patriots.
We'll wait because there aren't any.
Right. That's it. I mean, you're right. But as far as Joe Burrow, he's got to be the number one priority this offseason. Without him, they're nothing. The goal is twofold. Sign him to a lucrative long-term deal, and number 2, keep him upright. Protect the guy. With that, you got a chance to win.
No doubt. No doubt whatsoever. And I just wonder, I get the salary cap, and that's the form you're playing under, but it's all phony numbers. And you can do whatever you want.
Sure.
This is the thing that bothers me is no guaranteed contract. That's what's going on in Baltimore with Lamar Jackson, right? The Baltimore is so against giving them all guaranteed money. But Deshaun Watson got guaranteed money, quarterback, right? So did Kirk Cousins when he went to Minnesota from D.C., right? Didn't he get a fully guaranteed contract?
Yes.
So those contracts are available. I don't know how NFL players and that union – of all leagues, Andy, they should all have guaranteed contracts because your career could be over
There's
before
no doubt.
you know
One hit, you finish. We saw what happened several years ago when he had that injury. But here's the deal. He's making $9 million now heading into the 4th season of his rookie deal. He's likely going to become the highest-paid quarterback when his new deal is done. And Mike Brown, the owner and general manager of the Bengals, said just the other day that Burrow's deal could be so similar to how the Kansas City Chiefs handled Patrick Mahomes' contract. And if you remember, Mahomes signed a 10-year deal worth $450 million back in 2020, giving him an average annual salary of $45 million. So right now you got to believe that Joe Burrow is going to be up there, as far as one of the top contracts. I think, Aaron Rodgers is making $50-something million a year as the highest-paid quarterback right now, followed by, Russell Wilson, 5-year deal worth $245 million with $165 guaranteed.
And you can't play around if you're Mike Brown. Am I right? You can't play around with this quarterback. He changed your franchise.
But I don't understand what the problem is. The money is there. They've sold out every game. They just sold naming rights to the stadium from a company, so there's additional revenue
What
there.
is it called?
Paycor Stadium. And the funny thing is, the city of Cincinnati basically wanted to get a cut of that monies that they use for the signage, and they won't release it to the public or the media or anybody. The Bengals have the money. They're going to keep the money, and they're not sharing it with the city whatsoever. Well, I guess they have an ironclad contract. They have the best contract as far as stadium contract in sports. The stadium is paid for by the county, the Hamilton County. If the light bulb goes out, the county pays for it. They pay for the electricity. They pay for a new scoreboard. They pay for the furniture inside.
$1 for rent? Well, what's the deal?
It's an amazing deal. Amazing. I don't think they pay any rent. Stairs.
That's crazy.
They put the squash on it when they wanted to get a professional soccer team in town. Bengals said, no, we don't want them playing in our stadium. They built a new stadium downtown for the MLS team. They wouldn't let them play there. So they got everything. They got it all.
So they held out on a stadium where you only play 10 games a year? Is that really like the use is 10 games?
That's what they do.
How ridiculous is that to have a stadium to be used 10 times a year?
Well, that's what they do. They finally got an indoor facility now to practice in, so they got that as well. So they got the greatest deal in sports. They really do, and they got fans that are somewhat resilient. They really do.
So where are you on Joe Burrow? What kind of a guy, Andy? You see his press conference, you hear him. I like his moxie and all that, but
I love the guy.
Do you think he's going to be the guy who acquiesces to the team?
No,
or is he going to be a guy that's just like, dude, take care of me. I'm one of the best young quarterbacks in this league.
I took care of you. You take care of me, basically. And you know what? He'll get his money. I think the Bengals realize the value of Joe Burrow. And I think the good news is, and I think they're going to probably sell him on this fact that, hey, you're an Ohio guy. You grew up right there down the neighborhood. He's from the Plains, Ohio, which is maybe about an hour and a half from downtown Cincinnati, 2 hours. So he's an Ohio guy. So what? It doesn't mean anything. There's no big deal. You get what you can because it's a short window of opportunity being an athlete, especially a quarterback. One hit, you're finished.
They're not giving out Manny Machado $350 million fully guaranteed contracts in the NFL.
No. And I think that's the sport, as you mentioned, should have guaranteed contracts for the injury factor.
Right, and it should be. It doesn't have to be long term. I think that NFL players should get fully guaranteed 3-year contracts. Andy, if a guy's good, re-up and pay him. If a guy's bad, you let him go. Why can't they just do that?
The money is there. I don't think people realize how much money is there from just the sale of tickets, the sale of private boxes, the TV money.
They're printing money. They're printing money.
TV money, local radio money. The money is ridiculous. It really is.
So who do you expect, real quick, Andy, to be missing? Because Mike Brown, he can't hold everybody. They're going to have to part. If you had to part with somebody, is it Joe Mixon? Especially
I think it's Joe Mixon.
Because it's easier to replace, and B, now he's in trouble.
Yeah, I think the trouble is a great excuse for them to use to say, well, we'd love to have him here, but we don't want to have this hanging over his head. They saved $19 million if they dump him. But again, I think he would have been expendable anyway because you can get a running back on the 5th, 6th, maybe 7th round. You can. That's just the way the National Football League is. It's a passing league. They got great receivers now. Keep them intact. That's what you got to do. And I think that Joe Mixon, I think he's right out the treads on his legs. I think they're gone. I think that the career of a running back is rather small, and he's had his time, and I think that he wasn't that productive this year anyway.
Yeah, which is crazy when you think about all the great quarterbacks we used to watch in the NFL. Yeah. Barry Sanders, he can't play today, and Emmitt Smith, Jim Brown. I mean, like, the game has changed so much that, running backs are a dime a dozen, and you don't draft them high anymore.
Well, it's a passing game.
It's unbelievable.
The position of fullback is like a dinosaur. There's no more fullbacks anymore.
Nope, not at all.
The Ravens use one once in a while,